Hello friends, you must have seen so many defects in your injection molded parts while they come out of molds directly. So you must be wondering why do they happen, what are the causes and all those things. So today I am going to discuss about those issues and how do we rectify them. So that is the topic today. So what are the major defects and the causes of injection molding. So without further delay, let's get started. First defect I will talk about is the flow lines. So whenever we get the injection molded part out of the mold, so often we get to see the parts are having some flow lines. What are the reasons behind that? So these flow lines are primarily caused by various reasons, not just one cause. It could be because of slow injection speed. So injection speed in the mold is not set properly, or it could be low melting temperature of the material which is in the hopper, or your gate size is not designed properly. It could be small gate. So make sure the mold designer designs your gate accurately with the proper gating, and mold temperature is also set properly. It should not be low. So if these parameters are taken care, you will not face these flow lines. Okay, so that was the first major issue which we come across. So for the flow lines, you can see some of the defective parts in my screen. How do they look like? So it will be easier for you to understand when you get these parts, with these defects, to identify what is this kind of defect. So just refer to the picture shown in my screen, and it will help you to understand what is this defect. So let's move on to the second defect, second major defect. So second defect is known as sink marks. So sink marks are also this is very major defect. We come across during our molding. Designer also has to take care of his design to overcome this. Overcome this not only from mold design, it also occurs from design as well. So we need to avoid thick section in our design. So plastic cross section at any cross section, we should not have a thicker section to avoid this. So wherever you will have thick section, it will cause sink marks. So that is one thing. So thick section you should avoid. Secondly, the cooling time should be long enough. You should not give low cooling time while the part is cooled in the mold. Third is packing pressure also has to be taken care. It should be normally when low packing pressure is there, it happens. These sink marks are caused, and mold pressure also is another cause for this. If high mold pressure is there, you will come across these sink marks. So these are some of the causes, and how do we correct them? So as I said, thick section should be avoided. Packing pressure has to be higher, and mold temperature should be lower, little lower. Okay, so this is the second one. And how do we understand, how do we identify them in the parts? So they form like a slight depression in the part because the plastic doesn't cool down there, and it doesn't solidify. So you can see the pictures in my screen, and you will get to understand how do they look like, and you will be able to identify them easily when it comes out of the mold. Okay, so let's move on to the next defect. So next defect is known as weld lines. Weld meaning welding of the material. So what happens, we have in our mold, we have multiple gates, right, through which plastic flows inside the mold. So what happens when plastic is flowing in? There are many points, many places where plastic joins together. So if flow is not proper, or flow is not enough, or temperature is not maintained properly, the joining will not happen. So you will see what the joining line will appear over there. So those weld lines should not appear in any plastic component. So what do we do with that, and how do we avoid these things? So first thing is, mold temperature should be adequate enough. It should be high enough so that flow of the plastic should be smooth without any hindrance. It should not be, plastic should not be thick or dense. It should flow smoothly. And when they join from different gates, when they flow in to the mold, they should be still in the molten form. Okay, so that is one thing. The temperature should be good enough. The one cause I can say is whenever low temperature is there in the mold, it will cause these flow lines. Okay. The third is also if the molten plastic is having inadequate speed in in the mold, then again this issue will surface up. So low speed is also another cause for these flow lines. So make sure your speed is maintained. Basically, how would you maintain the speed in the mold? You have to maintain the pressure for that. So plastic has to flow. The molten plastic has to flow with the proper speed with adequate pressure. Okay. So these are some of the causes you have to take care and avoid them, and set the mold parameters accordingly to avoid this issue. Okay. So look at the picture shown in my screen to understand how these flow lines appear in any of the plastic parts. So it will be easier for you to identify these defects. So because what happens, often we get confused between flow lines or nip lines or uh, other weld lines. So you should not get confused, and you should be able to identify what is flow lines or what is weld line. Okay, so let's move on to the next effect. Next effect, I would want to talk about the flashes. So flashes are basically, you can understand by looking at the picture which I'm showing in my screen, what are the flashes. So these are the basically residue of the plastic which uh, try to come out of the mold. So this happens when core and cavity is joining together, and still plastic tries to come out of this joining line, basically the parting line of the the plastic product which you are trying to mold through through that mold. So why it is caused? So the first thing is either the pressure is very high in the mold, which is pushing the molten plastic out of the mold. The mold is not able to hold it, so the high pressure will cause these flashes. Secondly, the joining line of the core and cavity is not matching perfectly. So there is some misalignment in the core and cavity. So that can also cause this defect. So just look at your mold design and make sure there is no mismatch of the joining line or cutting line, and also make sure that your pressure parameters are correctly set. It should not be too high, otherwise these flashes will be seen in the final product. Okay, so hope this is clear, and let's move on to next defect. Yeah, so next defect which I want to cover is voids or air pockets. As the name itself suggests that there will be a void, meaning kind of cavity or air bubble, the part which we are trying to mold. So how does it form, and why is it formed, and how do we take care of this? Basically, what happens when packing is not sufficient in the mold, this is caused. Or when the thick section is thick, then also it is caused. And due to shrinkage or moisture moisture is there in the material, then also it is caused, because moisture will try to evaporate. So then it will cause some bubble inside. So these air pockets will be created in the product. So make sure the material is completely dry, thick sections are not there, and packing is sufficient to ensure that these air pockets or voids are not created in a product. So these are just prerequisites to avoid these kind of issues, injection molded parts. All right, so just look at the picture shown here to understand how does it look like, how this defect can be identified. So you will be while qualifying your injection molded part, you can easily understand how to take care and how to discuss with your vendor and address the issues carefully. And the last major defects I want to talk about is short molding. The name short itself suggests about the defect. Basically, the molding is not complete, meaning it is short. So what happens in this kind of defect is the part which we want to mold is not completely molded. Basically, the material which is supposed to fill inside the mold is not fully flown inside the mold. Some of the portion is still unfilled. mold has not been filled completely with the plastic, and so part is incomplete, so it is short with the plastic. So you can see the picture shown here, one expected part, how the expected design, how the short molded part is shown here. Okay, so it's very easy to identify, in fact, this short molding parts. Basically, the causes of these kind of defects are low pressure in the mold, so the plastic is not fully flown in the mold. So that is one of the primary cause of short molding. And sometimes also the temperature is not enough. Basically, low temperature is there. This then low temperature will cause this kind of short molding. So make sure that your temperature is good enough to maintain the liquidity of the plastic, so that it can continuously keep on flowing inside the mold, and the mold can be filled completely before it cools down. All right. So these are some of the major defects I wanted to talk about today, to give you understanding while you go to some vendor place and qualify your injection molded part, and hope this will help you molded part design and qualifying them. And also there is a video for you for injection molded part design, and how many types of plastic part design are there, what are the design techniques of plastic parts, not just injection molding. There are many other molding types of moldings are there. So I'm just pasting a link for that on the top. Please click that and understand various kinds of molding. And yeah, just enjoy that video as well. And if you think this video helped you in any way, please like and share with your friends as well. And see you in the next video.